upload in not too long from now. I did about 17 minutes prior to this. Okay, so Gods of Will. I was just mentioning this, and it inspired me to want to do this because it's important, right? Especially with the war that we've had going on, the war that we're having promised to come. Issues of war wariness and so on and so forth, right? So we have these gods of war, and the gods of war are wars in the mythos because you're kind of looking at psychological and spiritual theater being played out by personification of concepts. And it is when the will is under contention that their conflict arrives, and thus war. And the problem is that we don't know how to do resolution otherwise in these cases, right? And it's pretty gnarly when it's a whole collective, a whole organized national collective or tribal collective, and you just get a whole bunch of people working together to do violence unto another group of people, or maybe even just one guy. These are the horrible circumstances that are gods of war, right? So it can be fairly hard to understand how, like, you had good people who worship Ares or good people who worship Mars. What's up, Violence? Oh dear, what's happening? What do you mean, oh dear? What are you worried about? I see what you mean. I'm just, because, we're getting the classic World War III threat. Like twice now in 2 years, we've been under threat of World War III. It's like, oh my God, the Russians and Ukrainians are going to pull us into a larger, horrible conflict. Didn't happen. Oh my God, the Iranians and the Israelis are going to pull us into a horrible conflict. Right? So anyway, here's my point, right? So this is why I like gods like Hanuman. Hanuman doesn't fit your typical war god bill, right? Especially because he's a monkey, right? He's a trickster, right? And that makes him it gives him a kinship to Shiva in being a trickster. And you see the trickster's abilities, and he does benevolent things. Like Hanuman is a pretty damn good god, and a lot of awesome people have devotion unto Hanuman. I am told that, and it makes sense because in my Chinese zodiac, I'm a monkey, and there's something called primal astrology, which is semi-based on the Chinese system, and I am a gorilla in that astrology. And I hadn't started working out yet, but when I heard that, I laughed so fucking hard because I just sat there and I just thought about my body language and posture my whole life, and the way I push myself around, if you will. And I'm like, shit, man, I am a gorilla. and I got a reach, man. I got a very long reach. I think I'm like, what the fuck am I, 29 inches or something like that? I got pretty long fucking arms. Compared to Loki. Well, there is no comparison to Loki. Loki's a spirit. Loki's a Jotun. A Jotun doesn't have the same human agency that we do, because in the mythos, these are conscious forces of nature, or of a particular, like, modality or something like that, right? That's why, like, a mountain is a Jotun, but a god of mountains would be Thor, right? And that's why I climb the mountain, because that is a very Aries and Capricorn kind of thing to do. And Thor is got kind of both those qualities. I think that Thor's chariot is maybe not our zodiac as we've known it with the 12 or 13 signs, but whatever particular system that included the ram and the water goat. Because think about it. The maimed legs of Tungasir and Tengersir. I gotta get their names in me like that. But my point is that I think it's them. I think that's Aries and Capricorn, right? And when we're in Capricorn season, just think about it. They're maimed. Why? Because they are served for dinner. Capricorn is associated with the Horn of Plenty. What do you call that goddamn centerpiece? And then there's all the food around it. The cornucopia, right? It's the thing that I used to believe was on Fruit of the Loom when I was under the curse of the Mandela effect. Tengrisner and Tengjoster. Thank you. Excuse me. And so, because it's a water horse, I mean, it's a water goat in the Greek mythos, but you easily look at it because the way the stars trail off, and you can easily see how it could also be a maimed goat, a goat with maimed legs. And so there's more confirmation just there of how much there is astrotheology correspondent in the mythos. And so the chariot is the force that turns the wheel. And then that tells us a thing or two about the mechanics, the metaphysics of our realm. And long story short is that you're just managing your willpower. And so I think we should stop calling the war gods and call them will gods. The gods of will. Because I think that might be part of our vernacular problem, is the invocation of war, right? The war is only necessary with the intention of conflict. You hold your honor by not intending conflict when there is none to be needed, right? Because there's a very real threat out there that your will is threatened by. However, that threat may never reach your particular enemies, even though they're out there. You have to be prepared to defend the fulfillment of your will. But it ought to not be necessary at all, but you still have to have the courage to do it. And just be prepared to stop anyone trying to stop you. And the rest is based on knowing how right you are. And all of those kinds of particularities. So anyway, I'm going to go home and get some rest, and I'm going to try and maybe do some Heidegger tomorrow. It's a work night tomorrow, but I think I can just do it early. Like early evening. I'll catch you guys later. Please like, share, subscribe.